However, because of the Maiko paparazzi, the Maiko ride taxis for transportation more often now, and we have lost a lot of opportunities to see them outside. 皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. I always enjoy exchanging DMs with my viewers through Instagram, and I often receive requests for videos too. One of the most often asked questions is there anything I need to be careful about when I visit Kyoto? So today, as a Japanese person born and living in Kyoto, I'd like to answer this question by introducing 5 taboos when traveling to Kyoto. The 5 taboos become more crucial and unique to Kyoto towards the end, so I hope you can check them all out. However, as I always say in these taboo videos, there are a lot of Japanese people who break the rules too. And the purpose of this video is just for my fellow friends to be able to travel with less worries. Please understand that I have no intention of discouraging anyone to travel. If you have any plans on coming to Kyoto someday, please let me know in the comments what you're looking forward to doing the most here. In this channel, you can take a closer look at Japanese traditional culture, tips on traveling to Kyoto, and social problems in Japan. So learners and lovers of Japanese language and culture, be sure to subscribe to enjoy more content. それでは本日も京都へおいでやす。1. Littering and smoking on the streets. As many people point out as something troublesome when they travel to Japan, is that there are rarely any garbage cans on the streets. For example, even if you buy something to eat or drink outside, there's nowhere to throw away the wrapping paper or cups. This may be inconvenient, but in Kyoto and in most places in Japan, there are no garbage cans in order to prevent terrorist acts. I understand that it's tiresome to carry garbage around, but we all have to refrain from littering on the streets. Littering at some of the specified tourist sites in Kyoto will be subject to a fine of 30,000 yen. Then what do the people of Kyoto do with their trash? You would usually just take the trash home, or do not eat or drink until you find a place where you can throw away the garbage right afterwards. The easiest way to find a trash bin is to go to the closest convenience store. They usually have one inside the shop right next to the entrance. Also, the local rules in Kyoto forbid people from smoking on the streets too. Smoking outside the designated areas will be subject to a fine of 1,000 yen. And if you litter your cigarette butt, that would also be fined too. I have the link to the map which shows you where you can smoke in Kyoto. So if you smoke and hope to come to Kyoto someday, please take a look at the description box. 2. Walking on tatami floors barefoot. Kyoto is where the Japanese imperial family lived for more than 1,000 years. So it has especially many traditional cultures, food, and houses. When you travel to Kyoto, I'm sure you'll have more occasions of being in buildings that have the traditional tatami mat floors, which you might have seen in anime and manga. Maybe it'll be at a shrine or temple, cultural experience, or the ryokan hotel you stay at. However, you must be careful not to walk barefoot on these kind of floors. Tatami mat floors are made from straw and strings woven together. Because these materials are all natural, if you accidentally make them dirty with your feet, you can't wash them with detergent. Changing one tatami mat will cost 5,000 to 20,000 yen depending on the grade, and you would need a professional to do it for you. So it would cost a lot of money. It's always best to wear clean socks when you walk on tatami mats in order to respect the building and owner. However, one exception would be at the ryokan hotels you stay at after you've taken a shower and your feet are clean. Let me answer the most frequent questions I get related to tatami mats. What if you're wearing sandals? If you really want to wear sandals during your travel, I recommend you bring a pair of socks just for use on tatami mats. Japanese people rarely move around barefoot in the first place if there is a possibility of taking off their shoes outside. What if my socks are really dirty? The purpose here is not just wear socks, but to keep the tatami clean and be polite to the building and the owner. Therefore, it is advisable to bring an extra pair of socks if your shoes or socks might get dirty. Why use such expensive and vulnerable floorings in the first place? Tatami has long been recognized as the finest type of floor because of its intricacy in production and comfort it provides. So using such expensive tatami was a form of hospitality towards the guests. As a token of appreciation for the hospitality of its owner, the culture of guests carefully walking on tatami was born. 3. Riding bicycles while intoxicated. Driving cars under the influence of alcohol is strictly regulated in Japan, and violating this law will get you a fine of up to 1 million yen or 5 years in prison. However, while many Japanese ignore it too, riding bicycles are considered to be the same as driving cars. This means that if you go to a izakaya bar with the bicycle you rented and ride back to your hotel after drinking, you might get in serious trouble. If you're going to be enjoying any beer or Japanese sake at night, it's best to return the bicycle first and then head to the restaurant by foot or taxi. Also, please be careful not to park your bicycle somewhere randomly on the streets. If you park your bicycle outside a designated parking area, it will be taken away by Kyoto City to a storage facility, and you will be charged 2,300 yen to get it back. On top of that, if the bicycle taken away was from a rental shop, you will have to pay extra money to have it returned to the shop. 4. Not following the rules at shrines and temples. I'm very sure that one of the things you want to do in Kyoto is visiting the famous shrines and temples. I have introduced a few of my most recommended places in the Kyoto Hidden Gem series, so if you're interested, it'd be great if you can check them out. Shrines and temples are sometimes considered more of a tourist spot, even among Japanese people. However, we need to remember that originally these places are where we worship the local gods and practice the doctrine of Buddhist teachings. These are some taboos that are laid out by shrines and temples in Kyoto. 1. Talking in loud voices. 2. Taking photos, videos at prohibited areas. 3. Keeping hats and sunglasses on when praying. First, both shrines and temples are supposed to be places where we quietly feel appreciation for our lives and wish for others' happiness. So it is best to visit as quietly as possible to avoid trouble with the locals. Second, at these places, there are some areas where it is prohibited to take photos and videos, under the belief that it is rude to the worshipped gods. If you have seen my past videos, you will notice that there are some places that we need to skip because filming is not allowed. Places where photography is prohibited would have these kind of signs, so please make sure there are no such signs nearby when you pull out your camera. Lastly, it would be very respectful if you can take off your sunglasses and hats when you say your greetings to the shrines and temples. Some say that you must immediately take them off when you enter the precincts, but I personally think that that's a little bit too strict. Depending on the weather and temperature, it may be healthier for you to keep them on in terms of avoiding direct sunlight and so on. So just when you stand in front of the main shrine or hall is enough. 5. Troubling Maiko and Geiko. This last taboo is very unique to Kyoto, and I personally want to emphasize it. You too might have a dream of meeting the real Maiko and Geiko in the traditional streets of Kyoto. And surely enough, you can find them walking outside. Even though I've been living in Kyoto for more than 8 years now, every time I see them, I feel very excited too. However, recently in Kyoto, tourists taking photos of them without permission, or in worst cases, touching their hair and kimono became a huge problem called Maiko paparazzi. When Maiko and Geiko are wearing their white makeup and gorgeous kimono and walking outside, it means they're off to work, and in most cases, they're on a very tight schedule. Stopping them on the streets is like having someone stopping you when you're hurrying onto a meeting with your clients, or when you have to be on stage for something. Originally, the sound of the Maiko's special shoes with small bells in them ringing as they walk down the streets were something people enjoyed listening to. If you hear this, you can really feel the culture of Kyoto. However, because of the Maiko paparazzi, the Maiko ride taxis for transportation more often now, and we have lost a lot of opportunities to see them outside. Please never take photos of Maiko Geiko without permission or force them to take photos with you. And always remember that they are on their way to work. If you really want to talk or take photos of Maiko and Geiko, I recommend you reserve a cultural activity or dinner party where you can meet them. I have my recommendations of such services in the description box, so please take a look at that too. Then lastly, today's conclusion. I introduced the 5 taboos upon traveling to Kyoto. 1. Littering and smoking on the streets. Littering and smoking on the streets will be subject to fines, so please throw away any trash in the garbage cans, which are likely to be found in convenience stores, or smoke only at the designated areas. 2. Walking on tatami floors barefoot. Please wear clean socks and avoid being barefoot on tatami mats to prevent them from getting dirty. 3. Riding bicycles while intoxicated. Driving cars and riding bicycles under the influence of alcohol will get you a fine of up to 1 million yen or 5 years in prison. Also, bicycles parked randomly on the streets can be taken away to storage by Kyoto City. 4. Not following the rules at shrines and temples. Because shrines and temples are places for religious matters, please cooperate in following these 3 things. 1. Refrain from talking in loud voices. 2. Do not take photos and videos at prohibited areas. 3. Remove hats and sunglasses when you pray. 5. Troubling Maiko and Geiko. Maiko and Geiko walking outside in their kimono with makeup means that they are on their way to work or training. Do not stop them by taking photos without permission and touching their hair or kimono. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you thought, okay Shogo, I get the taboos, but please tell me, when are we actually going to be able to travel to Kyoto? Please hit the like button to help me boost this video to more people. And my goal is to achieve 1 million subscribers by January 2023, so your help would mean a lot. And please check out our sub-channel and membership through the link inside the description box. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. どうもありがとうございました。You know, speaking of traveling, I actually have this dream in my head. I don't have any concrete plans to make it actually a reality, but I have this dream of starting something like a bar in Kyoto where people who travel to Kyoto can come, and I will probably be there, and I also want it to have like a nice stage so that I can, invite my friends who do traditional music or dance or things like that, and they can perform there. And yeah, I just have this dream in my head that I've been thinking about, and I just really hope that I won't be able to travel like we used to soon to Kyoto too.